In a bustling green meadow, humming with the sounds of 1,000 tiny lives, there lived a very small ant named Ari. Now, Ari might have been one of the smallest ants in his entire colony, but his dreams were bigger than the tallest blade of grass. Every day, as he marched in a long line with his brothers and sisters, carrying tiny crumbs of bread and sweet nectar back to the anthill, he'd look up at the vast blue sky and think, "One day, I'm going to do something truly important. Something that everyone will remember." His friends would sometimes chuckle. "Ari," they'd say, "carrying food is important. Every crumb counts," and Ari knew they were right. But still, a little part of him yearned for a bigger adventure, a greater purpose. He wanted to be a hero. Life in the anthill was a whirlwind of activity. Deep beneath the soft earth, a complex city of tunnels and chambers pulsed with life. There was a nursery, where the queen laid her precious eggs and nurses tended to the young larvae. There were the food storage chambers, meticulously organized with seeds, grains, and dried flower petals. And of course, there were the winding corridors where thousands of ants scurried about, each with a specific job, all working together for the good of the colony. Ari's job was a forager, and he was a good one. His tiny legs could carry him far and wide, and his sharp antennae could sniff out a fallen cookie crumb from meters away. Yet, as he contributed his daily findings to the communal pile, the feeling persisted. He wanted to do more. He just didn't know how. One afternoon, the world outside the anthill began to change. The bright, cheerful sun disappeared behind a thick blanket of dark, heavy clouds. The cheerful hum of the meadow grew quiet, replaced by a low, rumbling sound that seemed to shake the very ground. The wind, once a gentle breeze, began to howl, whipping the long grasses back and forth. Ari, just about to deliver a particularly plump aphid to the larder, paused. A strange feeling prickled his antennae. Something was wrong. Then, the first drop of rain fell. It wasn't a gentle pitter-patter. It was a huge, heavy splat that hit the ground like a small stone. Then another, and another. Soon, a torrential downpour was unleashed upon the meadow. Panic erupted at the entrance of the anthill. Ants scurrying in from the outside were soaked and struggling. Water began to pour into the main entrance, turning the dusty floor into a muddy river. The sound of rushing water echoed through the tunnels, and a wave of fear spread through the colony. "The tunnels are flooding!" an ant cried out. "The lower chambers are filling with water!" shouted another. The worst news came from the food storage guards. The carefully stacked piles of seeds and grains, the lifeblood of the colony, were being washed away by the encroaching tide. The water was dissolving their precious winter reserves, threatening them all with starvation. Chaos took hold. Ants ran in every direction, unsure of what to do, their organized world thrown into disarray. But amidst the panic, Ari stood firm. His heart was pounding, yes, but seeing the fear in his friend's eyes, something inside him clicked. The dream of doing something important wasn't just a silly wish anymore. It was a desperate need. He refused to let his home be washed away. He refused to let his family starve. Climbing onto a small pebble to be seen, Ari chirped as loudly as his tiny body would allow. "Everyone, listen. We can't just run. We have to work together." A few ants paused, their frantic movements slowing as they looked at the small ant on the rock. "We are stronger together than any storm," Ari continued, his voice filled with a conviction he didn't know he had. We need to save our food and protect our home. He started giving directions, his mind suddenly clear and focused. You, form a line to the upper storage chambers. Pass the food up, grain by grain. He pointed to another group. You, the strongest workers. We need to build a wall. Use pebbles, twigs, anything you can find to divert the water from the nursery. His orders were simple, direct, and made sense. Hope, like a tiny spark, began to flicker in the darkness. The ants, who were lost in chaos just moments before, now had a purpose. It was slow, painstaking work. Ari wasn't just giving orders. He was leading by example. He scurried down into the muddy water, grabbing a single grain of wheat, and carried it up the slippery tunnel wall to the next ant in line. Then he went back for another, and another. His body ached. The water was cold and the mud was heavy. He was just one tiny ant, and the grain he carried was just one single grain. It felt like an impossible task. At one point, he slipped and tumbled back down, the precious grain lost to the churning water. For a moment, despair washed over him. But then he looked up and saw the long, unbroken line of his brothers and sisters, all working, all struggling, all fighting together. He saw an older ant give him a nod of encouragement. He saw his friends digging with all their might to reinforce a collapsing wall. His courage returned, stronger than before. He got back up, found another grain, and rejoined the line. His unwavering determination was contagious. Seeing tiny Ari refuse to give up, to keep going back into the flood, inspired everyone else. The diggers dug with renewed strength, their makeshift wall of pebbles and dirt growing higher and stronger. The food brigade moved with more speed and precision, their movements becoming a synchronized dance of survival. They worked tirelessly to protect the most vulnerable, the queen and the young. A special team of guards formed a protective circle around the royal chamber, ready to defend it with their lives. The entire anthill, which had been on the brink of collapse, was now a fortress of unity and resolve, all because one small ant dared to believe they could survive. Hours passed. The storm raged on, but inside the anthill, the ants held their ground. The water was held back, the food was secured, and the queen was safe. Finally, as if exhausted by its own fury, the storm began to subside. The hammering rain softened to a drizzle, and then stopped altogether. A single ray of sunlight pierced through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the wet meadow. A cheer went up from the ants. They had done it. They had weathered the storm. The anthill, though battered and muddy, stood strong. Food was saved, the tunnels were intact, and not a single life was lost. As the ants began the work of cleaning up, they looked for Ari. They found him near the entrance, covered in mud, exhausted but with a look of quiet satisfaction on his face. A wave of gratitude and admiration washed over the colony. They lifted him onto their shoulders, carrying him through the tunnels like a true hero. 3 cheers for Ari, they shouted. The cheers echoed through the chamber, a testament to his bravery. That day, Ari learned a valuable lesson. It wasn't about the size of the hero, but the size of their heart.